Hi everyone, this is Kelly Hill from Kelly Hill Ministries. As you may notice, things look a little bit different on me right now. I haven't recorded a video in a really long time because I went through a 1.5 month struggle with scabies. Unfortunately, this was the third time in my life that I've had to deal with this, and it never gets any easier. This video I'm making today, not to draw attention to scabies per se, but because I feel like in my research I've had to search so many different websites to get the answers that I needed and to come up with the truth. And so I really feel that it's important to share with everyone actual facts about scabies and how to effectively get rid of them and to separate the truths or facts from the myths. And so that's my whole goal, is to make one video where people can come and get the information that they need to help them hurry up and just get through it as quickly and as gracefully as possible. So it's my full intention is to help people by making this video. So I'm going to hurry up and I'm going to get started here and just kind of get to it. So what are scabies? They are a microscopic sized mite. Actually, it's a bug. It's a mite that burrows into a person's skin, and it eats your skin basically. And it can make you feel really disgusting when you have it. It can make you feel unclean. But the truth or the facts about scabies are that they affect. They've been around for thousands and thousands of years. They affect people from every social class. So it doesn't mean that you're a dirty person or that you necessarily have done anything wrong to get them. It's just that they're there and they're not choosy. They just want a human body to infest and to eat on. So they're not choosy. They don't care if you're poor or wealthy. So if you have them, don't feel dirty. And this is coming from someone who had, I just recently got through this. So I understand all of those feelings and emotions that go along with having scabies. Scabies will, at any given time, a human typically only has between 10 and 15 mites in their body. But because they lay eggs, then it's like a 3-day cycle. So the mites will die off, and then their eggs will hatch 2 to 3 days later, and then the cycle just continues in a human being until you can eradicate them from your system and from your home. So the question then becomes, well, how do I get rid of these things? And scabies will make a person very itchy. I guess I should kind of back up and get into that. They'll make you feel extremely itchy. The itching is worse in the night time for whatever reason. And they also can appear in different forms. I'll just kind of share with the 3 different times I've had them in my life. The first time I had them, I was 19 years old. I had gotten them from a boyfriend, and it appeared on this finger, my little pinky finger, and I just knew, like, we were actually at Cedar Point that day, and I noticed that finger was super itchy, and there was just one little bump there, and then that's how it spread. And that time, I mean, that's been so many years ago, I don't remember a whole lot about that, other than I remember having them on my hands and my arms. And then a doctor at a walk-in clinic. I had gone on vacation with my mom and my brother and sister to my aunt and uncle's house in Maryland. And a doctor in the walk-in clinic there diagnosed me with them and told me what I needed to do. And my mom took care of my laundry and did the bedding and everything. I did retreat myself. That time I used permethrin cream, and I did retreat myself 1 week later. And that just took care of the problem for me, and that was that. When 2 years ago I had them, and I had gotten them that time from a brand new shirt that I had purchased in a store. I won't say what store because I don't want to, like, you know, talk badly about any store, because it was a brand new shirt from a store that sells all brand new things. And it was a big box store. I'll just leave it at that. That time I had gotten them on my hands. It started out on my chest, actually. It actually kind of looked like a sunburn. And I just thought, man, you know, how did I get such a bad sunburn? But then the sunburn was just so itchy and awful feeling. And I just was like, you know, what could this be? And then it went from just having it here to I got it on my hands and my arms. And I knew what it was. And sure enough, went to a walk-in clinic and was diagnosed with it. And 2 years ago, you know, I had all 3 of my children were already born. And we just decided to deal with it very proactively. Again, we used permethrin cream. I think it's like 5% permethrin cream, which is typically what doctors prescribe if you live here in the United States. From the neck down is what they'll tell you. I believe we did our faces too that time, just to be safe, because at the time my youngest was little. And we decided at that time to just abandon our home, because I didn't want, with little kids, it was a little kid, I didn't want to take the chance on them like touching all the furniture, and just, it would have been a nightmare. So it was warm outside, so we decided to go outside, and we have a big huge walk-in tent, and we had cots, you know, for camping. So it was like beginning of June, and we just all decided that we would go out to the tent, and that we would not come in the house for anything at all except to use the bathroom and for me to do the laundry. So the first day was just a lot of washing our clothing and our bedding and getting things ready to camp for 3 days, because scabies can only live, it's up to 72 hours without a human host. So we knew that if we left everything alone in the house for at least the 72 hours, that we would be good, and that we wouldn't have to do anything else here in the house. The areas that we did go in, which would have been the bathroom and the laundry room only, and we did come in the kitchen long enough to get food, but we even ate outside. I sprayed all that down with permethrin spray, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. A spray bottle, and you can go, I bought my permethrin liquid at Tractor Supply, and it's actually called permethrin 10, and they call it livestock and premise spray, but it works. You purchase this, and this has like a 1/2 ounce and a 1 ounce mark. If you get a 16-ounce bottle like this, then you are going to want to mix it with 1 ounce of this. So I take the 1 ounce, dump it in here, and then fill this up the rest of the way with water. Or you can get a bigger 32-ounce spray bottle, and then you're going to want to do 2 ounces of this first, and then fill the rest of your 32-ounce spray bottle up with water. And every single day, I sprayed down all of our cots, and I washed all of our bedding. And again, this is 2 years ago. I sprayed down, we do not have any carpeting in our house, thank God, except for what's on our stairway. So since we weren't even in this part of the house, I sprayed down the laundry room floor, the bathroom floor, and you know, and everything in the bathroom with that permethrin spray. And you're going to want to be very vigilant about cleaning, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Now this last time, and thank God again too that none of my family 2 years ago or this time that I had them, none of my family got them. So I chalked that up to a praise God thing, like He protected them, and that also, you know, I cleaned a lot and I did everything I could to keep things clean, but to God be all the glory first. So then this time, I was a hospice Cena, And I don't know if I caught scabies from a patient that I gave care to, or if I picked them up in a store. I mean, you can pick them up, you know, I don't know. It's skin to skin contact, or like in my case 2 years ago when I bought the new shirt, somebody must have been trying it on, and I actually had a feeling not to even touch that shirt, and I think it was the Holy Spirit warning me, don't touch that shirt, like don't buy it, but I disobeyed. So guess what? When you disobey God, bad things happen. So anyway, this time I'm not sure where I picked it up from. The first infection started here on my wrist, my right wrist, and then it just spread to my hands, and pretty soon I noticed that my eyes felt goopy and my head was itching really badly. And I looked some things up and I saw that, you know, most doctors will say that you are not going to get, if you're an adult my age, that you're not going to get scabies on your head or like face. That is absolutely not true. They will say that usually only the elderly, because the elderly can be immune compromised, and young children, they will say that they are really the only two people groups that will get scabies on their scalps and in their on their face. And again, I am living proof that that is not true. I had treated myself 4 times with permethrin cream. My family had treated themselves twice, and I kept getting reinfected. Like literally within a 2-day time period each time, I knew that I was reinfected because the rash would start to go away and then it would come back. So I knew that I was reinfected, and it was incredibly frustrating, and I didn't know why or where I was getting it from, because I knew that I was cleaning like a maniac. I knew that all my furniture had been sprayed down. I wasn't at that point even sitting on any of our furniture anymore. I was sleeping down here. Just at a certain point I allowed all my family. This time it's not warm outside, so things were a little bit different. We had to approach it from a different angle. I just made sure that I let my family go back up to their bedrooms. I didn't touch my family. I didn't hug my kids, which was heartbreaking for me, and I cried a lot because of it. I slept down here in the living room, which again, we don't have carpeting in our house. I didn't go upstairs. I slept on a cot down here in the living room. And anything that I touched, including computers, anything at all, TV remote, phone, I sprayed down with permethrin. Every time I took a shower, I sprayed my entire bathroom and shower stall, toilet, everything down with the permethrin spray that I've already shown you. It stinks. It's awful. You have to like hurry up and spray it and get out of the way. It's not something I would want my children inhaling. And it's a sucky situation, but it is what it is, and you do what you have to do to get through it. So eventually what worked for me this time, after 4 treatments of the permethrin cream, including on my face and in my lash line and ears, and it just wasn't going away, I knew that I needed to approach it differently. So I made the difficult decision to shave my head bald. I cried at least half of the time while I did it. But when I did, I was so glad that I made that decision, because when I turned around and looked at it in the mirror, I saw that the back of my scalp was red and inflamed, like the whole back side of my scalp. I even had them go in my ears. I had mite bites on my ears. This left ear was the worst. Even down inside here, it was itchy. I could feel that it was itchy. They were in my eyes. My eyes were goopy, and I was digging like their eggs out of my eyes. I could see their burrows in my lash line. I could see burrows in my eyebrows. It was a living hell. And I actually, on 2 different occasions, went to like clean out some of the eggs from my eyes, and living mites fell out of my eye. This left eye was the worst, and that was the eye that they fell out of onto my chest and bit me. So nobody can tell me that I did not have them on my face or in my scalp, because I absolutely did. And again, that was a living hell. And a lot of times I felt hopeless. I felt despair. I felt like I would never get through it. And this is coming from a Christian who has a lot of faith in God. And I just was a wreck. It totally wrecked me. I was a hot mess. So I understand what people who have scabies go through, and it's something that you just hope and pray you can get through quickly and never have to deal with again in your life. So those were my experiences with my 3 experiences with scabies. And I know I covered some things already, but I'm going to kind of look at my paper. I made an outline because I don't want to miss anything. So, you know, I already kind of covered how you get them. It's prolonged skin-to-skin contact with people who have the mites in their skin and have scabies already. I talked about where on your body they can be everywhere. They're not picky. If you have skin, which our entire bodies are skin, they'll go there. I talked about, you know, that they only live for 72 hours. And so now I'm going to get into a little bit about cleaning. Like, I know I already shared some. When you do your laundry, you are going to absolutely want to make sure that you dry all of your clothing and all of your bedding on high heat. Now, some places that I've read say, oh, make sure that you wash in high heat too. But other places I've read say no, because that's not what kills them. It's the dryer, the heat from the dryer that kills them. And coming from someone who's dealt with this multiple times in my life, it's fine. That's what works. So make sure that you used your highest heat setting on your dryer. I believe it said it has to be like at least 122 or 120 degrees. Don't quote me. It's either 120 or 122 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 20 minutes, I think it said. I always dried mine for longer than that, just to be safe. Especially if it was like heavy duty, like comforters or like winter coats. You're going to want to make sure you dry it for, if I did comforters, I always did 60 to 70 minutes. If I did winter clothing, I always did, or coats, I always did 50, 60 minutes. Just to be safe. Just so that you're making sure that you get rid of everything. You're going to want to clean your floors. Anywhere that you walk, you're going to want to clean them. If you have carpeting, then I would say, I mean, again, I only have carpeting on my stairs, so the way I treated that was by spraying it all down with permethrin spray. Any of your hand railings on your stairways, you're going to want to spray it down with permethrin. I did my walls along my stairway. Any of your furniture, you are going to absolutely want to spray it completely down with permethrin spray. Any other type of flooring, can just spray it with the spray too. If you can spray it and like leave your home, then that's great. You're not, speaking of leaving your home, you're not going to want to forget your vehicles, because, you know, mites can go any kind of cloth. So I always made sure that I did my entire vehicle too with that same permethrin spray. If you have car seats for children, unfortunately, you're going to want to do their car seats with it. And then just put them, like if it's warm outside, you can put them out in the sun. If not, what I did was, like, because this time, again, it's not warm outside, so it was kind of different. I just made sure I opened the windows in our van when I sprayed everything down to make sure that it all had a chance to air out and dry before anybody got back in it. And you're going to want to pay special attention to your seat belts. I did all the buckles. I did pulled the belt all the way out and did the entire thing. You're going to want to make sure you wipe down all this, like the steering wheel, gear shifts, everything from top to bottom. Spray your carpeting down. I even did the ceiling in my vehicle just to be safe. Your visors, like everything. And it's a chore, but it's worth it because then you know that you're protecting yourself and your family. I already talked about cleaning your clothing, like your bedding. Make sure you do your bedding every night. You're in your pillows. Some people don't. I do, did, just to be safe. That way, you know, over the 3 days, 72-hour period, you're again ensuring that anything that might be alive on there, you're going to kill off. You're going to want to make sure that you treat all of your family members at the same time, because unfortunately, if you're around people, you know, your family, you know, what do we do as parents? We want to hug our children. We want to love on them, and they want to love on us. So you're going to want to make sure that your entire family gets treated all at the same time. When you do treat your family, you're going to want to make sure that you're following directions completely. So if you're using permethrin cream, I would suggest your face, even though it says on there not, you know, neck down, especially with kids, you're going to want to do your face. And I wouldn't suggest, like, the only reason I used it in my lash line and in my ears this last time is because I knew I was infected there. But, you know, I wouldn't suggest doing that to little kids unless you know for sure that that's where unless you can see, like, burrows on their eyebrows or lash line, I would not recommend doing that, just for their own safety. Let me see. When you treat yourselves, like I said, you're going to want to follow the directions completely. So with permethrin cream, every single crack and crevice, and I will leave it at that for the sake of decency, you got what I'm saying. Same thing goes for whether you're a man or a woman. Every single place on your entire body you are going to want to get. Again, mine was an extreme case this last time. The first 2 times I had scabies, it never went into my scalp. It never went onto my face. So this last time was a rare occurrence, especially for a healthy, like 40-something adult. It was just a freak thing that happened. Most people are not going to have that experience, thank God. And then what actually, I never did really finish my story from this last time, so I apologize for like bouncing around a little bit. But after treating myself 4 times with permethrin cream and it didn't work, and again I always knew that I was reinfected within like about a 48 to 72 hour time period, because the rash would, like, you know, mostly go away and then come back. So what I ended up doing after I shaved my head, and because I had shaved my head and treated myself with the 4th time with permethrin cream, and it didn't work. And I had even tried tea tree oil just to kind of help, and tea tree oil will kill the mites in your body. I had lots of mites come out of my body, and I know that, like, doctors will say, well, they're microscopic, you can't see them. But you can see, like, they just look like little black dots. That's the only way I can describe them. They look like little black dots that'll come up out of your skin. So you can see them with the naked eye, but they're really tiny. And so I had a lot of that, but tea tree oil, things like tea tree oil, neem oil, and clove bud oil are great for getting rid of, like, living mites, but it will not kill their eggs. So that's the problem with that. And I've kind of heard the same thing about sulfur, like sulfur soaps and shampoos, that it will help, like, get rid of the mites, but that it won't kill their eggs. If sulfur soap and stuff in shampoo worked for you, anybody watching this, then more power to you. I'm happy for you. That's great. But, you know, that's typically, and I've heard that sulfur soap, like, smells really badly, too, and that it can make your skin, like, super itchy, too. And those are the reasons why I opted not to use sulfur soap or shampoo. I ended up going back to my I was actually seeing my family doctor and my nurse practitioner. I kind of went back before and forth between the two depending on who worked on what day. And they probably got sick of seeing me. I think I've seen them like 4 times within a 2-week time frame. But I was desperate. And so I just was like very determined, like I'm going to get what I need, you know, however I can get it, minus stealing or hurting anybody to get it. So I just went online and I did a lot of research, and I found out that well, and I actually, while I was taking my treating with permethrin, I had taken 2 doses of ivermectin, which is an internal pill, also, which is supposed to kill scabies from the inside. And 2 doses, 1 week apart, did not do a thing for me. Didn't work. So, you know, again, if ivermectin and permethrin work for some people, that is great. I'm happy, and I think it probably will work for most people. It just didn't work for me this time. So I asked my nurse practitioner if he would write me a prescription for benzoyl benzoate cream, and it actually ended up being a lotion. And if you decide to go that route, benzoyl benzoate may need to be compounded in a compounding pharmacy for you, since that's not like in the United States, it's not a typical thing that like you're just going to find at any pharmacy. Most pharmacies will not have it. At first I was very discouraged by that, but when I found out that a compounding pharmacy like an hour and a half from here could make it for me, my insurance wouldn't cover it. It ended up costing me like $51. I was like, do it, just do it. I knew I needed something different. So I got a small bottle of that, and I didn't bring that to show you because it has my name and address on it, but it's just a small bottle. And I'm a bigger person. I didn't think that it would be enough, but it was. Like, after 2 days, it's benzoyl benzoate, 25% lotion. I only used half a bottle, and with that, you have to put it all over your entire body. You're not going to want to put it on your eyes, because it's not even supposed to be used in your nose, which I did put it on in the insides of my a little bit just up into my nose, because scabies had gotten up in there too. For me, like, my whole face was infected. So I did do that, but I did not put it any further than here, because I did not want it going into my eyes. And you will, when you use that, you can use that on your scalp if you decide to shave your head, like if you have an infestation in your scalp and in your face. I opted to do something a little bit differently. I decided to also get a prescription from my nurse practitioner for Lindane shampoo. I wish I could remember the brand name, but I can't. If you can tell them Lindane shampoo, then that's all they're going to need to know. A warning that if you are an epileptic or if you have a history of seizures, you will not want to use Lindane. Lindane is extremely toxic, and it can actually cause seizures, and it can cause like problems. I decided that in my circumstance, the ends would justify the means, and I took a chance, and praise God, I'm okay. But that's something that you will need to figure out for yourself. Like, if you know, you don't have a history of seizures or like health problems, then, you know, you may opt to use it. With what I did was I used the Lindane lotion, or Lindane shampoo rather, excuse me, on my entire scalp, on my eyebrows, and on my lash line. With my scalp and my eyebrows, it says right on the bottle to not use it on your hands. You have to wear rubber gloves. Like I said, it's highly toxic, and it is so toxic that you can only use it once in your lifetime, because they don't know how safe it is to even use Lindane 2 times, or when it's safe to use it again. So again, I know that it sounds really badly, but when you're as desperate as I was, and nothing else was working, like the permethrin and the ivermectin didn't work for me, you pretty much do what you need to do to get rid of the problem. So within reason, obviously. So I used the Lindane shampoo on my scalp and on my eyebrows. I made sure I followed the directions to the T. It was for 4 minutes.